Death meets us everywhere and enters in at many doors. By violence and secret influence, by the aspect of a star and the stink of a mist, by the fall of a chariot and the stumbling at a stone, by a heat or a cold, by water frozen into the hardness and sharpness of a dagger, or water thawed into the floods of a river, by everything in nature and everything in chance.
So wrote a contemporary of Vermeer's, the English preacher, Jeremy Taylor. His rhetorical style suited the time. From Shakespeare to Molière, this was the first great century of the European theatre. Its standards of verbal flourish and dramatic effect impinged on all public events, so that even the dissecting room in a medical school became a theatre. The studies of the human body carried out by Vesalius, his detailed charting of muscles or internal organs, were as much works of art as were maps of the period. His corpses pranced with the gestures of a stage Romeo or Cleopatra. Nowadays, the use of television as an aid to surgery has made us all acquainted with the inner geography of the body. In the 17th century, dissection was a new science to be viewed by the privileged few. It attracted a powerful observer in Rembrandt. A generation older than Vermeer, Rembrandt looked at what was there and recorded it with objectivity and a sharp eye on the local worthies who crowded in to witness the event. Whether recording the living or the dead, Rembrandt lets you know his own feelings and reactions as powerfully as he can. In this, he was the very opposite to Vermeer. Vermeer never painted a piece of observed realism like The Anatomy Lesson, nor did he ever reveal his feelings about his models in the way that Rembrandt sought to do. Dutch artists gloried in the material nature of their world. No one portrayed it more beautifully than Vermeer, but he also found ways to show it as an illusion.
This painting, The Music Lesson, is an extraordinary creation and one of the most successful fusions of art and music, of painting and music, ever created. It is a quiet painting, and as with so many of Vermeer's works, we really don't know what the scene depicts. We don't know who the lady is who's playing the virginal. We don't know who the gentleman is who's standing next to it. Is it in fact a music lesson, which is the traditional title of the painting? We don't know. A clue may be given on the virginal cover itself, which says, music, companion of joy, balm for sorrow.
Perhaps it is also a self-portrait of Vermeer. His wife may be the player of the clavichord. In the mirror above her head can be seen a reflection of the artist's easel, but no artist is present. She looks aside and sees him next to her, but only in the reflection. Another of the many ways Vermeer modified reality to create his composition. Two of his greatest paintings are of a woman reading a letter. We'll reconstruct how one of them was carried out. This is the corner room with the windows that we know from several other paintings by Vermeer. He begins his composition by moving in a table with a dish of fruit on it. It separates us from the woman and makes her seem more private. To fill the wall space behind her, Vermeer puts in a painting that appears in several of his pictures. It shows Cupid. It's based on an emblem meaning that one should only have one lover. Perhaps this was too specific for Vermeer, making it clear that his subject was reading a love letter. So he provides a more ambiguous clue. The half-eaten peach suggests a pleasure tasted but not fulfilled. The reflection on the window in Vermeer's picture looks quite skull-like. Perhaps this is another note of warning on the passage of time, a warning accentuated by the removal of the picture. But painting it over, as Vermeer did, destroyed the balance of the composition. So Vermeer puts in a curtain hanging on a rail that runs right across the top of the picture and increases the quiet theatricality of the scene. Is this a portrait? It seems so natural, a moment frozen as in a snapshot. Yet we know that Vermeer took infinite pains and concentrated thought to achieve the spontaneous. Like the misty lenses and airbrush effects used by photographers of film stars in this century, Vermeer sought to subtly idealize his subject. There is a complete absence of line in the painting. Only color changes give us the contours of the face. In this, Vermeer is unique among painters.
The modeling of the face has then further been accentuated by the reflection of her white collar. This very bright white collar is sending a light reflection up under her cheek, which makes a very faint reflection, rounding the whole cheek very beautifully, just as one sees it happen on the pearl hanging on from her ear, where the light source is being reflected in this large teardrop formed reflection at the top, and the reflection from her collar will then be on the bottom edge of the pearl, forming the shape of the whole pearl. The mouth of the girl with the slightly parted lips have also been underpainted in reddish tones, and the lips are very diffuse. The transition from the flesh tones to the lips are very well blended, but the final touch of light on her lip, mainly the two highlights on either side, are consistent of two small dabs of paint, which makes the reflection of the light cast on the slightly moistured lips, and one sees a lit area to the right of the mouth from where the light passes through the slightly parted lips onto the cheek.
Many artists, down to and including Matisse, have dressed their models and their backgrounds with great care. But the effect is frequently decorative. The model is part of an overall design and as passively arranged as the vase of flowers and the patterned wallpaper. In Vermeer's paintings, the model is the focus of attention, despite her passivity. Vermeer concentrated, in his maturity, on the private moments of individuals, and he gave them unique and unstated importance.
And now good morrow to our waking souls, which watch not one another out of fear. For love, all love of other sights controls, and makes one little room and everywhere. Let sea discoverers to new worlds have gone, let maps to other worlds on worlds have shown. Let us possess one world, each hath one and is one.